No.
Welcome, and thank you all for joining us today for the third annual Restoring Lives Luncheon. This year marks 10 years that Pay It Forward has been serving the recovery community in San Antonio. In November 2010, our organization awarded its first Sober Living Scholarships, and by the end of that year, we had provided move-in assistance to 9 individuals. Over the next 10 years, our mission has remained steady. Any impact in the community has grown significantly, and as of today, we have awarded over 2,300 Sober Living Scholarships and an amount totaling over $630,000. Shortly after Haven for Hope opened, it was evident that there was a significant need for a sober living option for individuals who had completed treatment but still needed the benefit of the on-campus partners to help address all of their other long-standing causes of their individual homelessness, in addition to substance use disorder. Out of that need, our Next Right Step Sober Living Dorm was born, which allowed men and women who are not quite ready to transition into the community at large time and support to address any of whatever their other barriers may be, which were also keeping them from achieving long-term recovery and self-sufficiency. Our residents were initially only individuals who had completed treatment on the Haven for Hope campus, but now, as long as they qualify to live on the campus, we can accept people from Alpha Home and Lifetime Recovery. Over the past 10 years, over 1,600 men and women have called the Next Right Step dorm home. This year, to eliminate any confusion, we have changed the name of our dorm from the Next Right Step dorm to the Pay It Forward dorm going forward. As with the rest of the world, we have felt the impact of COVID-19 here on campus, but it has created an opportunity for our staff and our residents to work even closer together, which has allowed us to express our genuine concern for the well-being of each other by vigilantly holding to the guidelines set forth to help ensure the success of each and every person we serve, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Chances are, many of your lives have been touched in some way by the work Pay It Forward has done for the past 10 years. Our residents and scholarship recipients are out in the community every day being employees, employers, and taxpayers. They are reunited with their families and have even created some new ones. They are parents, children, brothers, sisters, friends, and neighbors. They have served in the recovery community as well as the community as a whole. And if you were to ever cross their path, you probably would never know it, because they are living the life today that they have always wanted to live, but just didn't know how. Once again, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your past and continued support of our programs. Because of you, we are able to continue to support the positive impact and the ripple effect in the lives of those that we serve that will last for generations to come. Now, I have the honor of introducing this year's alumni speaker. This year, we are honoring the achievements of our own Pay It Forward dorm manager, Ben Brooks, who just happens to be an alumni of our Pay It Forward dorm. Ben has been our dorm manager for the past 2.5 years and is a prime example of the success of the individuals for which we serve. And we couldn't be happier to have him on our team and have the opportunity to work with him on a daily basis. It is my honor and my privilege to introduce you to my friend, Ben Brooks.
Hi, my name is Ben, and I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. By the grace of God, I've been clean and sober since June 4th of 2016, and for that I'm truly grateful. I am also completely and truly grateful to be this year's alumni speaker. This is an honor that I've been seeing for the last 3 years, where my predecessors have come in and given an opportunity to express their concerns or their things that they've gone through as a result of what Pay It Forward has done in their life. Pay It Forward has helped me to truly change the person who I was into the person that I'm becoming. Let me start off by saying that I've been very much involved in drugs, alcohol, gangs, and the homelessness lifestyle since 1995. I'm grateful that I'm no longer living that life. I'm grateful that I have an opportunity to impact the lives of others. And sober living has truly done amazing things in my life. I want to share the lifestyle that I came from and how I got started in this life. At a young age, I started drinking as a way to fit in with my peers. Drinking grew to drug use. I began smoking marijuana. And I didn't quite understand addiction at that point, but what I did understand was this helped me to escape. That escape became an everyday occurrence for me, where the only thing that I wanted to do was to get high and to drink. School wasn't important. Family life wasn't important. Living this lifestyle became the only thing of importance for me. Those days and years of drinking led me to crime. At an early age, 15, I picked up my first felony. That felony and doing time led me to a belief, a type of thinking that if I continue this life, this is just what comes with it. So I accepted the fact that eventually I'm gonna get locked up, but for now I'm gonna make the most of it. And each time that I would get locked up, or each time that I would, or especially each time that I got out, the things that I would do in order to keep my habit going got worse and got worse. And so eventually what I wound up doing was I went for longer stretches of time. But still, that didn't change anything within me. The only thing I wanted was keep drinking and to keep getting high. At some point, I came to the realization that I didn't want that life anymore. I had gotten involved in a situation where I robbed a liquor store. The owner of the store shot at me. I could have very easily lost my life that day. And the only thing that I could think of was, I don't want to live this way anymore. I felt that there was a change that needed to be made, and I had absolutely no idea how to get that way or what to do in order to get there. So what I wound up doing was I got rid of everything that I had, and I went on this wilderness type of journey, like the children of Israel did in the Bible. And I slept under a bridge for 2 days. Wasn't a lot of sleeping going on because I was wrestling with the idea of change in my mind and fear that somebody was gonna come and get me. By this point, the alcohol had worn off. My shakes were uncontrollable. And I felt completely hopeless, completely desperate. So that the next day, I was faced with that decision that either I'm gonna change or I'm gonna go back. And I decided to change. And so when I went into drug treatment with the idea that I'm gonna do this temporarily just so that I could get to a point to where I am able to get a job, save a little money, and then things will be better. I'll do what I've always done. I'll go right back out there and I will try to sell dope instead of doing dope. And that, of course, has never seemed to work for me very well. But once I was in treatment, I saw that people were living life, that they were happy. And I saw that people were getting jobs. I saw that people were buying cars, and guys who were like me, who were drug addicts, guys who were drunks, who were doing whatever it took in order to be clean and sober. And I wanted that. It was suggested to me early on to go into sober living. And I took that suggestion and I ran with it. I was voted into the Pay It Forward program. And my life has truly never been the same since. I learned to be responsible. I learned to take responsibility for my actions. I learned to fully really try to help others as a way to get out of my own head. And I learned to work some steps that would ultimately lead me closer to a relationship with my higher power. And that's been my saving grace, just reliance on this program, reliance on my faith, and reliance on myself that, hey, I can be somebody. My life is pretty good today as a result of taking that route. Today, I am no longer living at Pay It Forward. I am no longer a consumer. I am now the Pay It Forward program dorm manager, which has truly shaped my life into deciding on a career that I think will not only benefit me, but will help people who have been in my situation. I think that this is living in sober living through Pay It Forward has given me the greatest opportunity to find everything that I've ever felt that I wanted. I'm going to school today to be a addiction counselor. I have hopes to pursue other careers, get other degrees, and seemingly, I don't know a whole lot, but the only thing I do know is that sober living has helped me to really want to help somebody else, and I'm grateful. Today I am completely overjoyed, I'm happy, get a little nervous here and there because, with new experiences, but my life is, for lack of better words, it's the best thing smoking right now, and I'm grateful. And I appreciate this opportunity. I thank y'all for allowing me to share who I am and a little bit about myself and what I've done. My name is Ben, I'm an alcoholic. Thank y'all for letting me share.
Dear Pay It Forward, I am writing to you to express how extremely grateful I am for the opportunity I had to be in the program. When I came to Haven for Hope in May of 2018, I was completely broken. I was able to attend treatment and then was blessed to be accepted into the Pay It Forward dorm. While I was there, I was able to learn how to become self-sufficient and learn how to be a productive person and integrate myself back into society. I learned how to hold myself and others accountable and how to establish structure in my life. I learned how to create relationships, but mainly to rebuild the relationships with my children and family. This program planted the seed of recovery. I was given a second chance at life, and I decided to grab onto that and run with it. When I left the Pay It Forward dorm, I immediately moved into Oxford House. I have been there ever since. Today, my life is 1,000,000 times better than I could have ever imagined. I have been sober for a little over 26 months. I am a sponsor and a mentor for others struggling with alcoholism and drug addiction. I have friends and family that support me in all of my decisions. The best part of my story is that in June of this year, I was asked to come and be a part of the Pay It Forward family and now work as the assistant door manager. Recovery has given me my life back. Thank you, Pay It Forward, for helping build the foundation for the beautiful life I have today.
Good afternoon, and on behalf of the board, our staff, and our clients at Pay It Forward, I want to thank you for attending today's virtual luncheon and for your years of support and generosity in helping Pay It Forward provide the critical link between treatment and long-term recovery through supportive, sober living. As not only a member of the Pay It Forward board, but as a longtime member of the recovery community here in San Antonio, I've been astounded by the work that's been accomplished here. To see lives where hope was once lost, to see them be given the space to recover and move into the next era of their life, and see how it's impacted not only their own lives, but their children's lives and the lives of those around them, including their extended family. To see the community grow around them and support them through that process has left me just so grateful for donors such as yourself that help support this mission on a daily, monthly, or whenever basis. A quick fact or two about the success that we've had at Pay It Forward this year, despite all the complications that have come along with the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. Shelter in place was issued, and many of our clients don't have a place to go. So we've been able to provide that most basic need so that they could stay off the streets, begin their recovery journey, and stay safe like many of the rest of us have the ability to do. We've been able to award 225 people so far this year with scholarships into sober living facilities, with the goal of eclipsing over 300 by year end with your help. We can only continue this work and accomplish these goals together with your help making a donation today. Our goal today is raise $5,000. We have a donation tab that's going to be put into the link, as well as you can go directly to our site. Of course, you can reach out to us with any issues. We really need, appreciate, and will make good use of this gift that you've given us today. Please help us and to continue our mission here at Pay It Forward. Now is the time to reach in and see how you can help. We truly appreciate what you can do to help support our mission here at Pay It Forward. From all of us at Pay It Forward, thank you for coming today, and thank you for your continued support.
My name's Celeste Eggert, and I am the Chief Development Officer for Haven for Hope. Haven for Hope is a 22-acre campus that is a one-stop shop for people experiencing homelessness. We have 184 amazing partners that we work with who provide any kind of service that you can imagine someone experiencing homelessness may need. Anything from daycare, medical care, to legal services. One of our most important partners that we have that is on our campus is Pay It Forward. And they provide the critical service of sober living. What we know at Haven for Hope is that many of the people that we serve struggle with addiction. And we also know that once they go into treatment, they're much more likely to maintain their sobriety if they go into sober living after treatment. And that's what Pay It Forward does. It's that critical connection between treatment and long-term sobriety. And we are so grateful to have them on our campus. And they're incredible partners, and I would encourage everybody to support them. Wonderful, wonderful organization.
Thank you, Celeste and Haven for Hope, for being such great partners. Next, I'd like to introduce the award recipients for the 2020 Bob Jorgensen Community Service Award. This year, the recipients are James and Trish Fry. I've known James and Trish for about 6 years, and they've been a friend and an ally of Pay It Forward and its mission for the last several years. They understand the value of giving, which is really the true meaning of Pay It Forward, and they help us to continue our mission. So without further ado, James and Trish Fry.
Every year we decide who we want to give donations to, who we want to support in the community. We had decided to look at funding a different organization, and she said, well, let's look at this Pay It Forward. And so she told me about it, and I did some looking at it, and of course we pray about it and where our money needs to go, and I agreed. I thought they did some good work down here.
Yeah, so I've worked with substance users for many, many years, and one of the things that I know and I've seen is this struggle, right? When people go to treatment and then they leave treatment, people get better. The problem is that when they don't have the thing to fall back on and they don't have that follow-up, it's hard, it's hit and miss. And what I saw was that Pay It Forward was giving them this bridge. It was giving them a place to land. It was giving them follow-up accountability. And so I saw ongoing success. And it was something I wanted to support.
When I was a young man and had chemical addiction problems myself, I had a gentleman that was very helpful to me, and it was an employer. And one thing I asked after he didn't fire me was, he said, all I want you to do is one day you're going to have an opportunity to have a young man come in your office, and I want you to pay it forward. And that's all he asked of me.
Yeah, I think that's a very similar story that I have, is that people would ask me, hey, do you want to go to the movies? Do you want to go do this? And I would always say no. And then one day they said, how come you don't say yes? And I said, well, I don't have any money. And they said, well, we didn't ask you if you had any money. We asked you, do you want to go? And I said, well, okay, I'll pay you back. And they said, well, no, just pay it forward. And when we were very young counselors at one time, people would show up at our groups and they would say, man, I'm trying to get sober, but I need a place to stay. And gosh, we would end up putting people on our floors, and group members would put people on the floors, and we'd mark our mayonnaise, and this was many, many years ago, back in the 80s and the 90s. And people have to have a place to live. And what I absolutely know is that if we are helping people stay sober, we are absolutely helping almost every other social issue that comes down the line. So whether that be homelessness, whether that be crime, whether that be education, every other social issue that happens, if we can help somebody stay sober, we've impacted many, many other issues. It's not just let's make good choices. This is a brain illness. We can't just judge somebody. We have to remove shame. We have to bring people out of that darkness and give them hope. So that's what this is about. Who else takes that man or takes that woman who has those children and says, you know what? We're going to give you that break. We're removing the shame. We're not judging you. And now that you've got this 30 days of sobriety and you've worked really, really hard, we're going to help you continue that journey. And we're going to help you continue to have accountability because we believe in you. And they give them that next 30 days. And they hold them accountable to continue that journey. Man, there's no better investment than that.
And, it's a blessing to be able to do the things that we do. And I just love it. I love to see change in people. And I don't want recognition. That's why it's hard for me to be sitting here right now when they ask us to do this, because I'm always behind the scenes, and that, hey, we love you. I don't need a thank you note every month. And
everything we have is a gift, and that I know, right? That we are absolutely blessed. Every time I've had somebody that was coming out of a program and they needed that funding to go into the next step, Pay It Forward has helped them. they haven't been turned down. And that right there is just one more testimony to the integrity of what Pay It Forward is doing.
Hi, my name is Dr. Rob Kelly. It's great to be here with you today, guys. I want to tell you a little bit of my story first. It goes back way back to when I was about 9 years old when I took my first drink. And it's crazy because people say to me today, you can't be an alcoholic, Rob, look at you. And I go, yeah, you need to know my story first. You see, it's important for me to tell you my story to understand where I am today. You see, Pay It Forward is such an amazing foundation that it's just an honor to be here. When I started drinking at the age of 9, I just thought it was the best thing in the world when I took that first drink. I remember taking it, I was on stage at the time with a musical family. I remember taking the drink and oh my goodness, the whole world just took off. And I thought, I've just found the solution for the rest of my life. And it seemed to carry me a long way through my teens. I found out I could speak to girls, which was amazing when I took this gold liquid, and I could just do anything I wanted to do. Not only that, but it seemed that every time I triumphed at anything at all, it seemed that alcohol was behind that. Well, of course, that told me that every time I wanted to conquer anything, I had to drink alcohol. And that's exactly what I did. My schooling was just normal, I think. I never thought I'd fit in anywhere. You know, I never thought I belonged to anything. And most importantly, I never thought I was good enough. And you know, today I tell patients, you know, if you don't think you're good enough, if you don't think you can achieve anything in the world, I want to apologize to you guys, because somebody put that there. You see, today is about living the dream instead of dreaming of living. Because that's what I did when alcoholism got the best of me. You see, after getting married, after doing some amazing things in my life, you know, I remember going to Abbey Road for an audition as a bass player, a session bass player, and I drank one beer outside the studio. I was so nervous. And I went in and I did my session and I went back home and I waited for the letter to come, and I got the letter and I got the first audition was passed. I had 7 auditions for that position. So on my 7th audition, I was stood outside Abbey Road drinking 7 beers for my 7th audition. I went in and I got back home and I waited and I got the position. Again, just rubber stamping that every time I drank alcohol, good things happened. Never bad things, always good things. I remember playing with Elton John, David Bowie, Queen, Freddie Mercury was just unbelievable. But that was part of the scene. You see, what happened with me is because I was always achieving, I'm a very high achiever, is alcohol was always behind me. And I never saw the devastation that I was causing people around me. You see, my alcoholism was very contagious. You see, it affected everybody I came into contact with. I didn't know that. See, I never know the damage it did. To my kids, to my wife, to my parents. I was in this alcoholic haze. I remember my wife coming downstairs one night and I was trying to finish my bottle of vodka, and this is what alcoholism took me, guys. I remember her grabbing it off the side and saying, "Hey Rob, I think you've had enough." She's probably right. Should have thanked her and gone back to bed. I took a kitchen knife out and I stabbed her 3 times. See, that's what it took me. I see people today on the streets, I see people who suffer from my disease, and my heart goes out to them. You see, alcoholism and addiction are so misunderstood today. I got married, I had 2 kids, I thought everything was going great, drinking on a daily basis, thought the world was amazing. People used to say, "Rob, are you drinking too much?" 5:30 in the morning, I'd be walking around my yard drinking a bottle of vodka to get to work. Didn't think he had a problem though. When my wife went, and the kids, I got in touch with my attorney and said, "I want my kids back." She's left me with the kids. Still thinking I was a responsible adult, by the way. And they brought my kids back. My attorney brought my kids back. He gave me a huge check. And I brought them in, and I sat them in front of the TV. And I remember thinking to myself, wouldn't it be great if I just went in the kitchen and had 1 drink? Just 1 drink. Can't do any harm. It's the last thing I remember. 3 days later, when the police kicked the door down, because I was unconscious for 3 days, in and out of consciousness, drinking bottles, going to the liquor store, coming back, children not being fed or changed for 3 days. They burst through the door, they served me with unfit father papers, and they took my kids off me. My eldest, age of 3, said to me 3 things. Last thing she said to me was, "Daddy, Daddy, please get better." And as they walked down the path, the police were crying, I was crying, Mom was crying. She says, "Daddy, Daddy, please don't go." And the last thing my daughter said to me as they got over the gate and they turned round was, "Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking." I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. But I never had a problem. It's just bad luck I'm going through. 6 months later, my wife had gone, the kids had gone, the house had gone, my business had gone. They took my license off me. My parents threw me out, my friends threw me out, acquaintances threw me out, end up on the streets. This is having gone to Oxford University. This is, at one time during my career, my financial advisor said to me, "Rob, you can't go broke unless something crazy happens." And here I am on the streets. I just sat there one day looking around me and just thinking to myself, where did it all go wrong? See, alcoholism and addiction is vicious. Alcoholism is the only self-diagnosed illness in the world. And yet we still don't know too much about it. So when I see people today with my disease, when I see people going through what I've been through, when I see people on the streets, I try and get them help today. I try and get them to places like Pay It Forward. Because these are the guys. I visited once, and me and my wife walked around and we were talking to Hamilton, and we met a few of the guys, and it just took my heart. I remember standing there and just tearing up. The power I felt, the power of these people helping people like me. People that everybody would give up on. You know, I recover loudly today. I'm not anonymous. I do respect everybody else's anonymity, but me, no. I recover out loud so people can recover in peace. It's amazing today. You see, one person didn't give up on me on the streets. I used to have people step over me on the streets, look down at me. I used to hear people say, "Don't mess around with Rob, he's a waste of time, he's going to die. You're wasting your time if you think you can get him better." I heard that stuff behind my back. The abandonment, the shame. What went wrong? How did I end up here? I later found out that alcoholism and addiction doesn't discriminate. I later found out it doesn't make any difference how old you are. It doesn't make the difference if you're black or white. It makes no difference at all. If you suffer from addiction and alcoholism, it will get you. You see, if there was an exception to the rule, it would have been me. But I couldn't. You see, I couldn't do it for my kids. I couldn't do it for my wife. I couldn't even do it for me. I broke down one night after 13 months on the streets. I broke down and I bent over and I got on my hands and knees and I started to cry. From here, not here. You see, I wasn't crying because I'd lost my kids. I wasn't crying because I lost my wife and my millions of dollars. I was crying because the first time in my life, I realized I couldn't stop drinking. And that's what it took for me. I was a broken man. Beyond repair, somebody said. Beyond repair. I like to think today that I'm an upstanding person of the community. They call me one of the best minds in the modern addiction world. My ego likes that, to be honest. It's not what I do for a living. See, I'm always in the trenches. I'm always working to get somebody a better life, a better place. For me, and I'm not just saying this, I've been around for years and years. I've visited loads of places. Pay It Forward. Man, them guys give people hope. The work they do is phenomenal. When they came to me and said, "Hey, Dr. Rob, would you do this little thing for us, I had no hesitation. We made time. I always make time to do this stuff. You see, my life is amazing today. It really is. I have everything I want and everything I need. Why? Because I'm in recovery. You say I'm recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body. I'm sane today. And I want to pass that on. And there's hope for everybody. When I spend my time in the trenches, I tell people that. Doesn't make no difference how far down the scale you have got. There's hope. There's hope for everybody. The homeless guy on the streets who gave up on his children, who sold his kids out for alcohol. The husband that nearly killed his wife. The terrible son. Them people, me. There's hope. Always hope. Never give up on hope. Because if you want it bad enough, your dreams can come true. Sometimes we just need a little leg up. That's all we need to go on and absolutely achieve the greatest things we can achieve. You see, I look at addiction like quantum physics. Quantum physics tells me that, let's say a basketball court for instance, I could be up to 25 places on that court at the same time. At the same time. I can visualize that. Quantum physics is a science, a proven science. So I look at the basketball court and I say to myself, Rob, where do you want to be? I want to be over near the goal. So when I get the ball, I jump up, start it in the net, and I'm the hero of the game. How do I get there? I walk over and I take that position. That's right. I walk over and I take that position. You see, what I can visualize in my mind, I can hold in my hand. From where I was to where I am today is virtually impossible. I had to have help. I had to have help from organizations like Pay It Forward. I have to have help from friends who knew what I was going through. And that was the leg up I needed. I hope it's the leg up you need. I appreciate things today. I appreciate life. I appreciate the birds. I appreciate this behind me. I have a waterfall in my yard. Are you kidding me? My waterfall was somebody going to the restroom in the corner of the street. And now I have a waterfall behind me. How did that happen? Because I'm happy, joyous, and free today. I'm happy every single day. I don't have bad days. I have better days than others. And that's my philosophy today. And that's my message going forward. It's a great life. But we all need somebody. We all need somebody to be successful. I hope you're having a great lunch, guys. And I hope you're having a great day. And I want to say that today has been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, to come into your homes, to come into your halls, wherever you may be watching this. It's an absolute pleasure. It's kind of the small things that make my life today. And this is one of those days. It's a pleasure to be here. Enjoy your lunch, guys, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Castro, chairman of the board at Pay It Forward. I've been on the board for 2.5 years, and I first got on the board because the work that Pay It Forward does has such value just on its face. We are saving lives every day. You know, on Pay It Forward, we operate a couple of different programs. We operate the sober dorms here at Haven for Hope, and we also provide financial assistance for those who want to live in sober housing all over the community. And I have seen over and over again the impact that these two programs have had on individuals. Sobriety is a multifaceted pursuit, really, and housing is part of what makes sobriety happen. And we are one of those critical links in the road to sobriety for hundreds of people each year. We operate a really tight ship here at Pay It Forward. We have 4 staff, a volunteer board, and yet we serve hundreds of individuals. So I can promise you that any financial contribution you make is going to be spent incredibly wisely. There isn't a lot of fluff in our organization. I mean, the people that we have working here should get paid more, quite honestly, and they don't, because everyone is so committed to the mission and vision of the organization and to the participants that we serve. Without Pay It Forward, there would be a lot more individuals in emergency rooms, in the county jail, a lot more individuals living in the streets, a lot more individuals who are losing their kids to Child Protective Services because parents are not sober and aren't able to be parents. So Pay It Forward really it provides a critical link towards getting people from an impossible situation into a future of possibilities. What I like about Haven for Hope is that they sort of are the glue that holds all of these different partners together, and I think everyone brings their own subject matter expertise and what they do to the table, and so there's a lot of cooperation and collaboration instead of competition, and that has been very helpful to the end user of our services, certainly our target population. You know, Pay It Forward has really started to cultivate a reputation of excellence all over the community. It's funny, for the longest time I think we were slipping through the cracks because we weren't exactly a residential treatment facility, but we weren't housing either. We were somehow filling in a gap that no one even really knew existed. And I think people are really starting to pay attention now to the gap that we serve because they're seeing the outcomes that we get. And so I think, you know, the outcomes speak for themselves, and the outcomes prompt people to want to partner with us in ways that they haven't in the past. So it's really kind of exciting. You know, we're just so grateful that you've been brave enough to participate with us in this first ever virtual fundraiser for us at Pay It Forward. You may not know who our clients are, and our clients may not know who you are, but we are all incredibly connected. And your contribution and your support, your time, your money, you name it, is going to a good cause. I can promise you that because I see it with my own eyes. And if you ever want to see it with your own eyes, come hang out with us and we'll show you.
You know, I just